Bernardo, you're a tough act to follow. I will try to follow. Does anyone know what that sound is?
Triangulator?
Close.
Pretty
If
trained.
you're in Central America, though, it could be a cat call or harassing sound made by men towards women. But I'm not going to talk about all of Central America, just El Salvador, where I lived for 2 years with the Peace Corps. I think I heard every day of those 2 years. And in the beginning, it was followed by a lot of English. Like, hey baby, where are you from? Or just gringa, or American girl. I hated being harassed in English. Bad enough being harassed in Spanish, but being harassed in English just reminded me that I didn't fit in. I tried to fit in. I brought every single piece of clothing that Peace Corps told us we needed to bring in order to assimilate in our host country. Long skirts, they told us to wear long skirts, shirts with no logos, and sturdy shoes. But when I arrived in country, I realized I was a complete fashion freak. No one dressed like this. And to make matters worse, I couldn't speak the language, I didn't understand the culture, and I didn't know my way around town. I got harassed a lot. We all did. Of the 90-some countries that Peace Corps was involved in at that time, El Salvador was #1 for aggravated assaults against volunteers. I decided one day I had had enough. I was going to have to break these crazy fashion rules for my own safety, and I wanted to feel more like me. So, I was going to get harassed anyways, why not look a little more feminine? I brought some short skirts, cute shoes, cute tops, I was all set. I still heard gringa, but I could start to hear doubt in their voice as well. I was making some progress. But food shopping was still very difficult for me. I could never understand the price of things. I tried to haggle, but I usually failed. My host family, or the family that I live with, thought this was incessantly funny. They would constantly ask me how much I paid for things, and then they'd laugh at me. And they'd say, ay, Julita, la próxima vez que vengas conmigo. Next time you come with me. So poco a poco, or little by little, I learned to assimilate and get used to things. But one thing I could never get used to were the gangs. I was scared to death of the gangs. Everybody was. This was MS-13, the baddest of the bad. Many of them recently deported from the States back to El Salvador with little or no family left in country. They always looked really, really mad, and they loved to pick on volunteers. And you could always tell when a gang was coming because the crowd would part like the Red Sea to let them pass. No one wanted any trouble from them. And of course, one day I'm at the bus stop, and the crowd started to part, and my heart was beating out of my chest. I thought, is it too late for this non-practicing Catholic to start praying now and to promise that I will go to church on Sunday if I am just spared from these angry delinquents? The crowd came back together, and I realized I had been spared. Nothing happened to me. I thought, is this divine intervention? Or could it be that I was starting to look a little bit more like I fit in? So I decided to test the fitting in theory at the market. But I wasn't going to speak. My accent was a dead giveaway. I was just going to mouth the words "como" or "how much" and make my purchases. So I went to the market, made my purchases, brought everything home, showed it to my family with pride. I told them everything I paid, and they said, no tan mal, not so bad. I was finally getting some respect. Using the pila, or the concrete fountain, on the top floor of our house to wash your clothes, you would still get harassed by men who could see you from the street. Lots of loud kissing sounds. I can't make loud kissing sounds. So loud. I don't know how they did it so loud. I could hear it from the street. And lots of amor míos. my laundry, minding my business, just wanting to hang out my delicates. And a class from a school that was next to our house let out a class of about 20 men. And they were relentless, calling at me, making noises. I was infuriated. I just wanted to hang out my laundry. I thought about turning around and giving them all the finger, but then I listened. And it was all in Spanish. A group of about 20 men, and not one of them was saying anything to me in English. Chelita mia, they were calling, for my little white girl. I did it. I passed the harassment test. I was now officially part of 2 countries, and at that point, nothing else could have been better. Mr. Postmaster.